Hey everybody, how's it going? Mushkin here, and before I even start off this video, I just want to apologize if there's different things in the background, weird things in the background, like a freaking old kitchen set. It's because everybody, it's not that late, but it's 12:30ish, and everybody's asleep, and all the rooms are taken up, so I have to do this video in the storage room, which is great. But, you guys, tonight we had WWE TLC 2015, and I did 2 review videos on that, so go check that out if you haven't already. But also, right after the pay-per-view, we had a podcast, Stone Cold podcast, with Shawn Michaels, which I thought was a good podcast. They were actually doing it from the BSR, the Broken Skull Ranch, which I thought they were actually going to do it live after TLC, like they do after every Raw and stuff. Whenever they have a podcast, they always do it backstage, right after the show or the pay-per-view or whatever. But they did it at the BSR, and they were showing little video footages of those clips from the podcast on Raw and stuff to promote the podcast. But I just thought those were like just little video packages just to promote it. I didn't think that would be the actual podcast interview, but it was really cool. It was actually cool having a new setting and stuff, so it was cool. And, Shawn and Steve, they start off talking about, how they hunt and stuff, but they didn't really go too in-depth in that because they're like, oh, we don't want to offend people and all that stuff. And, then Shawn started talking about his family a little bit and how, his son is just so passionate about helping people out. He has really taken it to heart about the things that happen in Paris and just wants to help out, how he wants to go into computers and all that stuff. And then they go off onto, Steve sees the Rolex on Shawn's wrist, and he's like, hey, let's talk about the match, from WrestleMania 24, I think it is, of you and Rick. Let's talk about it, And they go a little in-depth in that, and Shawn is just like, Rick was just such an influence to me. He was a role model to me. If it wasn't for Ric Flair, I wouldn't be a wrestler. Like, he influenced him that much, and to have the honor to face him in his last match was super, super big and a big deal for Shawn, obviously. And then they segued into the Montreal Screwjob, and one thing that I learned today, which I did not know, I'm pretty sure they mentioned it in a DVD or something, I just never caught it, I guess, was that Hunter was actually the one, he wasn't the actual one who bought this up, but he kind of got the idea of it, that, he said, Triple H, that, if, he doesn't want to do business with us, referring to Brett, then we're gonna have to do something about it. So that's how the screw job all came about, and, Shawn, of course, went into depth how he felt and all that stuff. And what else did they talk about from there? They also talked about, I don't know, oh, the Click, of course, the Click, and, when they broke kayfabe and all that stuff, and Steve was actually thanking Shawn, because if it wasn't for breaking kayfabe and all the blame going on to Triple H, then Steve would have never won King of the Ring 96, I think it is, and then, Steve Austin 316 would have never been born, pretty much, and also, because the whole entire thing about Triple H came up and how he took all the blame for it, Steve was like, hey, how do you feel about Triple H, taking over WWE in the future? And also, how do you feel about what he's done with NXT? And Shawn, of course, is like, I'm not just saying this because he's my best friend, but I'm genuinely proud of him because the things he's done, and he will take over the WWE one day. And Vince is such a good businessman, and Triple H has a great mentor in Vince. But the one thing Vince was always missing was seeing the business standpoint from, a wrestler's point of view, and Triple H was a wrestler for so many years, so he has that point of view. He has the business point of view, and that was the last ingredient, pretty much. And he has that. Triple H has that. And man, he's gonna take WWE to new heights. What else did they do that? Steve asked Shawn about how he feels about the younger talent. Paying tributes to Shawn Michaels and stuff, just like how Shawn kind of did to Rick. Doing his moves and stuff every now and then, and, they talk about Ziggler. Ziggler does so many of Shawn's moves, or at least similar moves to him, and Shawn's like, that's great, and I want them to do that, because it's awesome, but I also want them to do their own thing, and, go off into their own direction and all that stuff, and they just kind of go in-depth in that as, well, not too in-depth, but they go into that as well. And they pretty much just wrap it up from there, pretty much, the interview. And when the interview first started off, I thought they were jumping the topics. Like, in a podcast, you do that, but since they were on the network, they had, like, a certain time limit. And if he was just on Steve's podcast, like, Shawn was on Steve's podcast, I think, 2 years ago. I don't remember. They could have definitely gone way in depth. They could have had a 2-parter, 3-parter. Like, you know, that's up to Steve. Like, you know, but if they were on the network, of course, they had a certain time limit that they had to go to and all that stuff. So I thought they would jump into topics, but when they got towards the middle and towards the end, I thought it was kind of good, segued and all that stuff. But that was the podcast. It was pretty good. I liked it. I definitely liked it. And the setting was new. It was cool. It was interesting. So go check that out, you guys. And again, sorry for the storage room issue, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And YouTube, I don't know what's going on, but it's acting really weird because I've uploaded the 2 review videos tonight for TLC, and it doesn't let me add more than 4 or 5 tags, and usually I add like 8 or 10, and it's only letting me add like 3 or 4, and that's absolutely crazy. So I don't know, if you're having that issue, please comment down below and let's see if we can fix it together. But yeah, you guys, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!